Live.
Yes, we are live. Bang, Monday Night Live. It is Unnecessary Roughness Barstool's college football podcast brought to you by the good people at High Noon Hard Seltzer. And Casey's going to tell you all about those great folks right now.
Those great folks. I was in the office today. They're shooting Surviving Barstool right now. And I was thinking, if I was doing this and I was in a contestant, I would need to grab as many high noons as possible because it's chaos. But the office always has them stocked. We've got the game day. I have a game day pack on my desk right now that no one is allowed to touch. Katie, I know you've had to hide a couple packs as well. The game day pack is all the rave right now. I love the cranberry. The cranberry is sneaky my new favorite. And we're getting to the time of year, guys. I talked about it last year. The time of year when the weather starts changing a little bit and you can make like a high noon punch bowl at tailgates and stuff with actual like real cranberries in them. Delicious.
We love High Noon. People yesterday, after the drama-filled day, were drinking some High Noon to wind down. Couldn't blame them in the least part. Yesterday, definitely first day of Surviving Barstool. Didn't know what to expect. Can't wait for everyone to see. I didn't even see everything because it's all built on conversations. But there's going to be a lot of High Noon flowing throughout that show. And obviously with Dave in the office, High Noon it's no joke. Dave is drinking High Noon all the time. It's his favorite drink. It's not he does it just because he's paid. He loves High Noon, and we love it here too.
We love it. You can go to highnoonspirits.com, Drizzly, your liquor stores. By the way, I didn't mention this on Saturday night. During the A&M Alabama game on CBS, they showed Dave a million times with the High Noon tequilas. It was crazy, like just national commercials. So anyways, go grab your High Noon. Brandon, are we almost not completely halfway through the season, but we're getting close.
No, we're pretty much halfway. Most teams have played 6 games. Now we're in the middle of bye weeks, but we're relatively halfway. We got a lot to talk about. I got one concern tonight. Do I look good as fuck? Yeah, I think I do. I apologize that I.
You usually are wearing a t-shirt.
I'm wearing actual adult clothes. Yes,
it looks good. Your chest, shoulders, they look great.
Why are you wearing a real shirt?
Why are you wearing a shirt?
That sounded creepy.
Okay. Anyway, it is the College Football Podcast, and we're going to talk about college football right now. I have 5 questions I have written down for you guys, and then 3 more questions, and then we'll let the chat weigh in, and they'll drive the bus back 20 minutes of the podcast. Number 1, this is not a question, this is a statement. Getting a horns down tattoo after a regular season game is fucking crazy. That is wild. Oklahoma beats Texas on Saturday. And then, is this a joke? Have I been joked again? Like, have I eaten the trash on this? That 2 Oklahoma players get horns down tattoos?
I don't think it's a dupe.
Well, did they get them or did they already have them?
That's a good question. Did they already have them?
They may have already had them, and I think that's a little bit better. But
having your rival's logo tattooed on your body is also still very weird.
Also, when you're looking at it, from your point of view, it's up.
I can't. I don't know when they got it. If they got it in the last day or two, that's one of the crazier things I've ever seen. If they got it in the offseason, that's also one of the crazier things I've ever seen.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Now, Jack's point is the bigger issue for me is that, like, if you're going to get it somewhere on your body, you've got to get it somewhere where it's down all the time unless you're upside down, like on your chest or something. Because it's like, if it's on your arm and you're laying a specific way, it looks like horns up. I think you can get it whenever. Like, I don't think that it's that crazy if it's your rival. I mean, it's like the horns down thing is a thing that people do. And if you hate text, like, what's OU's hand signal? They don't have one. It's not like they're like, they don't have, like get your guns up or gig them or anything. So that is their like thing.
They just have a continuous playing of Boomer Sooner. It's just, you want to get a tattoo, you would just get a speaker in on your left shoulder, and it would just play. If you just go to the bathroom, Boomer Sooners played. If you throw out the trash in the recycling and you separate it, Boomer Sooner plays. It's just, you could do the most average things, Boomer Sooner plays.
Also, these guys are going to live the rest of their lives with a Texas Longhorn on their body. I hate Ole Miss more than anything. I love Mississippi State. If I'm getting a tattoo, I'm getting the Mississippi State logo on. I'm not
You're
getting
not a tattoo guy, though.
Right, I'm about to say you're not a tattoo guy though.
Tattoo guys can just get your rivals, but
Tattoo guys can get whatever they want.
if these guys, something happened to these guys, and there was an apocalypse, and we all died, and somebody discovered their body, and like saw it, they were got a couple of Texas fans here, Texas fans. They'd be marked down as Texas fans forever.
I know you hate this phrase, but this is the best use of rent-free I've ever seen.
It literally is rent-free. It's real estate. They're just giving away for free.
For those listening on audio, Michael commented, "Forever rent-free ad space on their body." Michael, you just won the chat. We're only 5 minutes into the show, but you just won the chat for tonight. Congratulations.
I was teetering back and forth on kind of being like, well, if you're a tattoo person, you can get it. No, Michael just won. He's right. That means that that Texas is living rent-free. Because you are right. Like, I mean, obviously OU and Texas are a different rivalry too, but like I would never get an anti-anything on my body. If I was going to get now, and I'm a tattoo person. Now I have small tattoos. I don't have an A&M tattoo. But if I was going to, I would do an A&M tattoo. I don't know. I'm still kind of going back and forth. Like, yes, it's stupid, but also if you're a tattoo guy, a lot of things are stupid.
What happens if you're Bear Alexander and you have a Georgia tattoo and you play at USC? I know he won the Natty, but it's still weird when you transfer.
Well,
Is he from Georgia?
I don't know where he's from, but it's a story of like his career or life, right? He did play at Georgia and won significant games there. So I get that more than if he had gotten an upside down Auburn tattoo when Georgia beat Auburn, then he goes to USC. That's fucking crazy.
Maybe. So I don't know if I'm even supposed to say this, but I'm going to anyways. Like I know that Taylor Lewan and Big Ev were talking about like maybe a bet they were going to potentially do for the Ohio State Michigan game, and we were on the bus when we were in Nebraska, and Taylor was like, "Well, let's just get a tattoo of the other team," and Ev was like, "Yeah, I'm not a tattoo guy," and Taylor's like covered head to toe. So like if Taylor got a Michigan tattoo, it would be hidden, so it's like not that big of a deal. So I think it just depends on how many tattoos you have. I have a couple tattoos that people might think are really, really stupid. You just can't see them.
Yeah, you do have a few stupid tattoos.
What the fuck, Jack? Have you seen all my stupid tattoos?
Oh, I've seen them.
Any tattoo with Machine Gun Kelly involved is a stupid tattoo.
I've seen your tattoos.
No, you've not. Nobody. Katie might be the only person here that's seen all of my tattoos.
We've seen pictures.
No,
okay.
You haven't.
Okay.
No, you have not.
Made that up. Okay. Anyway.
Katie's definitely seen all of them.
All right. So let's see. I've got 5 takes/questions. These are actually questions, not takes. And I will ask it. The chat can answer too. We might read a good one. Okay. Probably not. But anyway, here are my 5 questions with college football so far this year. What if through all the 6 weeks that we just had of is Alabama this, is Georgia this, is LSU this? What if after all of that, those teams looking not as good as usual, the SEC in the end is the exact same, where it's 12-0 Georgia against 11-1 Alabama in the SEC title game, and it's basically a playoff game? Because after ups and downs with both these teams, it seems like we might just end up at the same place we always are.
I was going to let Jack go. I thought he was about to talk. He kind of had like the wind up. I don't think that's crazy. And the only thing is that I know that, we have to play a whole entire season and like things are going to happen and this team is getting better, but like they still lost to Texas, and Alabama is not used to losing a game in Tuscaloosa in week 2 of the season. So there is still like that aura around it. And I kind of got into it with a couple Alabama fans saying like, oh, you said this is the most vulnerable Alabama's been. Like, how can you say that? Look what Jalen Milroe did to A&M. That's fine. But Alabama fans, shoot them with truth serum, are not used to losing a game like that against Texas. However, that was in September. By the time these two teams play in December, it's going to be the same old Alabama, I think.
Maybe. It's certainly, I think they've already won their 2 toughest SEC West games. Alabama and A&M, I think, are their 2 toughest West opponents. I don't think LSU's defense is good enough to slow them down, even though Jalen Milroe isn't as good as maybe normal Alabama quarterbacks. Like, I don't think LSU can match up with them very well. I certainly don't think Auburn can match up with them very well. Arkansas can't match up with them very well. I don't know. Go ahead.
I'm going to make the point that this is not the same old Alabama. This is the lowest we've seen Alabama in a little bit. I still don't think they're as good as they were last year, years before. I are still very good. I think they're a top 10 team, top 5 probably. But this is the lowest. Everything, there's multiple statistical models that have them lower than they've ever been, and that's still elite.
I guess the point I'm making there, Jack, is they are less than they've been. I think everybody agrees with that. But even though they're less than they've been, they still might get to exactly where they've been.
That's my thing. They're not
they might get to the exact same destination that they've been getting to for 15 years without even being as good as they've been. That's very possible.
It is quite funny, and maybe it has even to do with their dominance because players won't go to the other schools and whatnot. It could all be a trickle-down effect, but the lowest we've seen Alabama, it doesn't even matter. And I think that's the point you were making, right, Brandon? Like it's the low. They're still going to be in the SEC championship game, a place they weren't last year. There's still a lot of things that could play out, but I mean, the biggest thing for them is they haven't had an SEC loss. I mean, even when they beat Texas, we sat here and we said, like, this may really not matter. It did, but in the long run, their destinies has been in their hands. They could have lost to Texas 52-0. I don't even think it would have mattered.
Yeah, the loss itself was embarrassing in the moment, but if they take care of business from here on out, win the SEC championship game, they're right back in the playoff. I don't know if they're good enough, especially the Georgia I saw the other night. If Carson Beck is as good as he looked against Kentucky, they're a different animal too.
Here's a question with that. It's like when you look at what Jalen Milroe is the best at, and he's good at obviously he gashed up A&M secondary. That's fine. But like the intermediate throws for Jalen Milroe is a problem. So like when you look at their schedule, it's like, is there somebody on their schedule that can shut down the passing game? Because and I know he can scramble obviously, but like that's where it's going to be an issue.
LSU's defense is trash. Auburn isn't very good. Tennessee's defense is trash. Like who's going to stop him?
And Jalen, and I think if we came into the season and we said Jalen Milroe, if Jalen Milroe is a top 25 quarterback, we would have all bought in on Alabama. And I think he's close to a top 25 quarterback at this point in time.
All right, second question. Michigan ends the season with at Penn State, Maryland, and Ohio State. Will their first 9 games hurt Michigan when it comes to that stretch of games?
I don't think so.
She's nodding her head. Jack is saying no.
I say no.
It's the experience. I think it's better to struggle and see what your team does when you get kicked in the mouth a bit. Do I think not to say that I think they're going to lose them. I still think they're going to go 3-0 in that stage, but you need to be tested. Because if the first time you get tested is in the national championship semifinal, that's a lot harder than it being in your regular season.
But I would say they've been tested though. Like they were in a close game against Rutgers
for a quarter.
Yeah, but I mean, like that was close. That was tested. They could have lost that game.
I guess I'm thinking
they won that game by 30 points, didn't they? 31-7?
Yeah, they won it by 30 points. But sorry, somebody just came in. They won it by 30 points, but there's like I see Katie's point, but I think they will be tested at like even Maryland will test them.
Yeah, that's in the stretch of games I'm talking about. Right now they're 6-0. They have Indiana at home, Michigan State, Purdue, and then they play Penn State, Maryland, Ohio State. 2 of those games on the road.
I don't think that it matters at all because they're going to be tested before they even get if they make it to the playoff. But also, like their guys are staying healthy, and it's not like they're like squeaking out these games, by like 7 points or like a couple touchdowns in garbage time. Their starters are not playing in the fourth quarter. Like that means that they are getting like the job done so quickly that like they're not just like as we say, like the cliche, sleepwalking through this schedule.
Yeah.
I think that if you can keep your guys healthy and then when they do finally get tested, their guys have to play a whole game, then finally we'll see. But no, I don't think it's ever bad to not, quote, be tested.
I have a question.
Well, here's another way to look at it. Jack, what's your question?
I was going to say, should people look at what's happened at Michigan with Jim Harbaugh as kind of a don't pull the plug too early?
100% they should, but they never will. They never will.
Yeah. That's fair.
You're not going to stop fan bases and administrations from firing coaches too early. They're always going to pull the trigger. Should they exercise patience? Yeah, I think, especially if you believe and trust in the coach, because it would have been very easy to fire Jim Harbaugh for Michigan, and they didn't. They wrote it out. I kind of wonder if they had played that 2020 COVID game, would that have changed things if Ohio State had killed them? But let me put this question to you another way. Over the first 9 weeks of the season, think about the quarterbacks they played. They played East Carolina. East Carolina scored 3 points. UNLV scored 7. Then they played Bowling Green, so 3 nobodies to begin with. Then they played Gavin Wimsatt at Rutgers. Then they played the backup at Nebraska. They just played Callie McManus at Minnesota. They're going to play Indiana. They're going to play Michigan State. They're going to play Purdue. I haven't named a good quarterback yet. The 3 best quarterbacks they will face are Penn State, Drew Aller, Talia Tagovailoa, and Ohio State, Kyle McCord. They will not face a good quarterback until the middle of November. So looking at it like that defense is going to see something it hasn't seen.
Now to that point, then yes, then I agree with Katie, where it's like they need to be tested by a good quarterback. I know this is crazy because Michigan State's a dumpster fire, but I think Michigan State at the beginning could test them a little bit. It's a rivalry game. Isn't it in East Lansing at night? No?
They could play that in Mel Tucker's living room, and I don't think it's giving any. There's
no
advantage.
Lose it, but I don't think it's like a super easy walkthrough game. Anytime it's a rivalry game, no.
I think the 4 of us could go to East Lansing and at least take them to overtime.
I'd love to try.
Go ahead, Jack.
It's just who has Georgia played? I mean, I know they won the national championship, but. They ain't played nobody.
Georgia will have played Tennessee, who I think is okay. They will, Kentucky is at least 5-0. I don't know how real Kentucky is, but I think you can answer that a little bit more affirmatively than you can answer who Michigan's played.
Yeah, you can, but that's just how the schedule is, because the Big Ten has really made it an emphasis to make these big games and later in the season. I would kind of say you would rather ramp up.
But guys, the question wasn't, do they play anybody? The question was the fact they don't play anybody, will it hurt them when they do play those 3 teams?
No.
At the end?
I don't think so.
There, that's the answer.
Yeah, I think ramping up is actually fine.
All right. Question number 3. Is it possible that Brock Bowers could win the Heisman Trophy, Jack?
He'd have to go on a disgusting run.
Yeah.
I would say it's very slim. It's next to none.
You put it at 5% or less.
Yeah.
Casey, is it possible Brock Bowers could win the Heisman?
I'm gonna put it at 10% or less, and that's on the high end. I think I agree with Jack. He would have to have some sort of ridiculous stat line that you would be able to ignore the quarterback stat lines that we're gonna see.
I mean, he's gonna go for 8 and 140 every week.
Here's the thing. He only has 4 touchdowns this year.
Yeah, in the SEC, in these games, I think Georgia doesn't have the overwhelming amount. They don't overwhelm teams like they did last year. So they're going to have to lean on him a little bit more than they've leaned on him before. That's why I think his numbers are just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Let me.
That's a question.
He would have to have a ridiculous number of touchdowns in comparison to what he has. He can put up 150 yards, 200 yards a game. But if he's not scoring, I think he should be there. He should absolutely be invited to New York. But with it being a quarterback award, it's going to be okay, how many touchdowns did he score? And then the casual voter is going to be all right, so he scored 8 touchdowns this season. We're not going to send him to New York. That's the way I see it.
I mean, Roman Wilson has 8 touchdowns now over at Michigan. He doesn't have as many. Actually, I think he has close to as many yards as Brock Bowers as well. So that's how I would just. I don't know how great of he's the best player in college football. That's not the argument here. It's just I don't know if he's going to have the numbers. He may not even be able to play the amount of snaps that would be needed, from the perspective of they just blow teams out.
You also need Caleb Williams to start throwing interceptions. You need Bo Nix to fall apart. I think you need Michael Penix to fall apart. Their dominoes are in place. It's just a lot of them have to fall.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, they're going to fall in the Pac-12. I mean, some teams are going to lose out there, and one of them will fall this weekend when one of those teams loses.
Well, Penix is 2-1. He's leading right now. What do you think he has a like 40% chance, 35% chance?
I would, if I were picking today, predicting who would win the Heisman, I would probably say Michael Penix Jr.
All right,
I
yeah.
think they're going to win a huge game this week, and then they're going to beat USC later. Which brings me to my next question.
Imagine that. Imagine Indiana fans if that happens.
My next question is percent chance the winner of Washington, Oregon this weekend wins the Pacific 12 Conference.
Percentage chance?
Yeah.
50?
I was going to say 65, 70.
And 50 felt low, but
Do you mean regular season or overall?
The Pac-12 championship.
oh,
All right. Yeah, 65 then is my answer.
I'm going to say 50, but I do feel like it's low.
So what would you have said before the Arizona game? I feel like the Arizona game killed a lot of the percentage of USC.
Well, they just keep having that game, right? Like they beat Arizona State by 14 and just didn't look good. And then, the Arizona game definitely killed all perception of them because, that's for the fact of the matter is that's Arizona's backup quarterback that scored 41 points against them, took them to overtime. Now, I don't think he's going to be their backup very long. I think he's probably better than the starter. But, people are tired of propping up USC when only one half of the football team is serious. USC is not a serious football team on the defensive side, and you're going to have to be balanced to go through that Pac-12, I think. So yeah, I think the Arizona game changed everything for them, Katie.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Brandon, what's your percentage on Oregon, Washington?
I'd go 80.
80?
Yeah, I personally think Washington's going to win the game. But if Oregon wins it, if Oregon goes on the road and beats Washington, what a statement that is. So,
right,
phenomenal football game. Yep.
Right now, Washington's 2-1, Oregon's plus 210, and USC's 3-1. Oregon State comes in fourth at plus 850. So, obviously, whoever wins that game will get a big time bump.
That's the rub for these Pac-12 teams. The thing that's going to take the Pac-12 either close to the brink of playoff elimination or out of playoff contention is not Washington, Oregon, and USC playing. It's going to be Washington, Oregon, and USC playing, and then one of them tripping up against an Oregon State who's very good right there below them, Washington State who's right there below them. Like these second-tier UCLA, these second-tier teams, and not even second-tier, Oregon State's very good. These teams right under the top level could absolutely pluck one of if Washington beats Oregon, there's no guarantee they're beating Washington State. There could be some trip ups here by those teams because they're very, very good.
Well, and that's why, and I know Jack had a great point a few weeks ago whenever he said he's done lamenting the Pac-12, he's done saying we're sad. But it is to me, it's this is the best drama we've seen in the Pac-12 in a while. And then it's just completely gone. That is crazy to think.
And then Colorado doesn't really even have. They already played Oregon, but they don't, and they already played USC, but they don't play Washington, so they don't have. They do play Oregon State at home. So if Oregon State has one more loss in the Pac-12, that would eliminate them. It will get interesting. You're right, but I would say I'm further in that 60 to 65. I think 50 is a very good conservative answer, though.
All right.
And I have a follow-up question to that, Brandon, for you.
No.
Yes, as we've already talked about, I know you said you would take Michael Penix Jr. to win the Heisman, but the winner of this team this weekend, percentage chance the Heisman winner is on that team if Oregon wins.
I'd say it's less than winning the Pac-12 because Caleb Williams still exists. I don't know, 33. 33, I'd say. Okay. Now, what am I looking at? What is this? Okay. Here's one. Katie, get ready. You ready?
Boy. Oh, boy.
We talk about, we paint these pictures in all these conferences of what could happen at the end. Who's going to win the Pac-12? Who's going to win the 3-team race in the Big Ten? Will Alabama, Georgia play? Texas and Oklahoma, are they going to rematch in the title game? In the ACC, what are the chances we get 12-0 North Carolina against 12-0 Florida State? Here's North Carolina's schedule.
Okay.
They are currently 6-0.
Don't do this to me.
They play Miami and Chapel Hill this weekend, a game which lost a little bit of shine when Miami shit down its leg.
A lot of shine.
They play Virginia in Chapel Hill. Virginia might be the worst team in the country. They play Georgia Tech in Atlanta.
We've
Georgia Tech,
lost the last 3. If that's
Georgia Tech is not that good. They play. Is that a real game? Campbell? You play Campbell? Okay.
yeah, probably senior day.
You play Senior Day's the next week in Chapel Hill when you play the Duke Blue Devils at home. And if you're 11-0 at that point, do you know where you go then?
Clemson.
You finish the season at Clemson.
Wait, NC State should be the last game.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. At Clemson is 11-0, and then you're right. Your last 2 games are at Clemson and at NC State. So if you're 10-0 heading to Clemson and NC State, how nervous are you?
We always have the dumb trip up games. So like also just the odds of going 12-0, I like that's like not even a concept. UNC football.
I can't even say words right now.
It's not
It's broken.
my brain can't comprehend a 12-0. Not complaining. It's just like I've expected 10 win season is great. Like
I
All right.
say 25% chance.
really
Then you have undefeated Florida State right now. They have Syracuse at home. Then they have Duke at home. I think they can handle both of those. Then they have Wake Forest on the road. I think they can handle that. They have Pitt on the road. I think they can handle that. They have Miami at home. They have North Alabama at home, and then on the road at Florida. Now, a third wrinkle in the ACC.
you say Louisville 12-0.
Louisville.
Someone in the chat just talked about
Listen. Do I think Louisville is good enough to be a playoff team? No. Somebody's got to beat them, though. Like their schedule is remarkably easy. I just read you 6-0 Florida State schedule, and it's hard to find a loss. I just read you 6-0 North Carolina schedule, and it's easier to find a loss, but it's still feasible. They could handle it. Now, Louisville's out there at 6-0 with a win over Notre Dame. Who's going to beat them?
the ACC. I feel like I'm broken record. There's always no one. It's all used to be Clemson and everyone else, and then there's always trip up. There's dumb games you have no business losing. Like I know the Pac-12 always cannibalize itself, but I feel like the ACC, like the.
All right, just listen, Katie. Just listen. Louisville's 6-0, right? They just beat Notre Dame at home. I know what you're saying. They got a road trip to Pittsburgh. They have a home game against Duke. They have a home game against Virginia Tech, a home game against Virginia, a road game against Miami, which will be tough, and then a home game against Kentucky.
Also, what happened to Duke? You guys were hyping up Duke as
Duke's good too. I mean, but I think every game I mentioned there for Duke was on the road. I feel like it. They go to Chapel Hill, they go to Florida State, and they go to Louisville.
It's yes, on paper it's feasible. Like I just got to myself. I opened the door. I was like, okay, 9 wins, 10 wins, looking maybe at 11. Like my brain hasn't even.
You texted me this morning and said UNC's going 12-0. Deal with it, bitch. And I was like, what? And you were like, deal with it, ho. I don't know why you call me a ho. So don't keep that same energy right now. Was that not you?
You be happy I'm looking at 10 wins. Like I've made progression.
Yeah, Brandon, you can't even try to lie about that because I think that if we ask Katie when they're 10-0, if they're going to go 12-0.
No. If we beat Miami, like that'll be a big exhale for me, 100%. Even after that game,
yeah,
it's just like the thought of UNC football. Like I was talking to my Clemson kids today, and I was like, I don't care if Clemson loses out. If we beat Clemson, I'm losing my shit. Like I'm not processing that good. Like I've seen so many eyeball issues. I don't.
An undefeated team is so wasted on her. It's just wasted.
It's so wasted. I know.
It's wasted.
The strength of schedule. It's not.
Katie, it's wasted.
Katie.
I got set up the stairs.
If my team was 6-0 with your strength of schedule, I would be pantsless right now, twirling my penis.
5-0.
If my team was 0 at all, I would be talking about it.
Stop that, Brandon. No, I got excited. I got excited. Okay, also, no, don't unless you're Alabama or Georgia or Michigan, like don't get excited about 12-0.
I don't want to
happen.
This is a question, and this isn't like a gotcha or anything, but
yeah.
I just added it up. I just said added it. But who's going to be the best MVP, who you thought. But how many times has UNC since 1970 had a 10-plus win season? I think it's a lot more than you think it is.
Okay, well, like I did not grow up a Tar Heel. In
No,
my
I'm not trying
I
to
don't know
like.
the
I'm
history.
more
How many
than just
times?
what
How many?
7.
Digits?
I mean,
Yeah,
it's a very
17
good.
win teams.
Yeah, since 19. They have a very good foot. Like Katie kind of downplays it. I get it. That's her
Yeah.
fandom.
Well, I
But
had Mary Fedora.
they have a
who I'm not
great. They have a great football program history, and they've never had an O though. So she is right in that way.
Like, yes, if we win Miami, but also like y'all fucked me last year at the Wake Forest.
We did.
I
We did do
like,
that.
but no, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. The Syracuse win, hand up.
Katie. Ando.
All right.
You're Ando.
Great.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about that. I'm very
You're not excited
okay.
enough. You're not excited enough.
I'm very okay not getting excited about UNC going 12-0. I'm going to be realistic.
You're undefeated until you're not.
Facts.
I'm not going to pull a Shadur.
I'd have 9 watches on my hand. They're 6-0. I'd have 6 watches. I'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I mean,
and they'd be Rolexes, not those cheap ass piece of shit brick watches. All right.
So you
I
did
know that you did see it officially.
I don't co-sign that.
Yeah, we are.
I don't co-sign it either. I can't believe we entered business with those idiots.
No, we don't co-sign you saying the brick watches are shit.
I will say though, from Katie's perspective, I do think UNC is a really, really good team. I see them as a top 20 team, and that probably means they'll slip up at one point. But they're a top 20 team with potentially a top 2, top 3 pick, and that could change things.
Yeah, no, Drake May, he took the Heisman step in the Syracuse game. Like, he was in the conversation, wasn't playing it. I think the Syracuse game for him was a, hey, remember me, I'm still here, motherfuckers.
And like, Drake May, once he gets drafted in the NFL and he has a lot of money, do you know where he should go to find his first car?
Cars.com is where you should go.
There you
the
go.
Car says so much about you. Mine says I own the road and I'm better than most of you. That's not actually what it says. It says I'm a 17-year-old girl. Anyway, doesn't matter. My car is great. Your car can be great too. Find your next possibility on cars.com. For 25 years, it's been the #1 resource to buy, sell, finance cars. Go check it out. It's incredible. They have such a selection. Up to 50,000 cars are uploaded daily. Over 2 million possibilities are out there right now on cars.com at all times. Cars.com. Find your next possibility on cars.com. Where to next?
I love the filters on cars.com. You can go. I've been talking about this every time. You can go and you can select if you're living somewhere hot, you want those air conditioned seats, you can select that. If you're somewhere cold, you want those heated seats, you can select that. You can customize your car from the comfort of your own couch. And I feel like that's not something that a lot of people who have bought cars in their life are used to, because normally you have to go to the dealership. You have to say, okay, like filter out these different cars, like take me to this car. You have to walk across the lot. Okay, no, but I want that feature in this car. No. All on cars.com. You can just select it there and they filter it out for you.
All right. My next question is before heading over to the chat. Would you fire? ? Would you fire? Based on what we've seen so far, would you fire Sam Pittman at Arkansas?
I let the season play out.
It depends where their finances are in order.
Oh my God. Somebody answer a question.
I mean, the answer, are you saying right now?
Based on what we've seen so far, if the season progresses in the same manner, would you fire Sam Pittman?
No.
Yes. Rip
Thank
the
you.
Band-Aid off.
That'd be a big Band-Aid. All right. Let's see.
Would you? You should answer him too.
Oh, I'd have fired him the second he got there and ate up the pregame buffet. I've got, would you fire Elliott at Virginia? Tony Elliott, right? I always forget his first name.
I would not, because if
The situation?
Yeah.
the situation, this is year 2,
Yeah.
and a lot of their losses have been close. So I would give him one more year, but he's going into the season on a mighty hot seat.
Yeah, I think you have to wait just because of kind of everything that happened last year. And I don't think that you can.
Would you fire, and here's one that we almost probably never thought we'd say on the show, would you fire Matt Campbell at Iowa State?
Who would they go get? So
Cat Nimble? I don't know.
It's kind of the same question I would have with Arkansas. It's like, if you're going to fire somebody, that's not been like disastrously bad. I mean, I guess Matt Campbell has had quite the rise and fall, but I those aren't destination schools where you're like, okay, you know, you're going to go get somebody better.
You know, a lot of people say destination schools like that. There's only so many of these jobs.
Yeah.
There's always somebody that'll take them. Like, for example, Arkansas. They hired Sam Pittman off of Georgia staff as an offensive line coach.
Yep.
You can find a guy like that. They just kind of, he was a charity case that they used at the time, but like you can go find a guy tomorrow that'll coach Arkansas. And here's another added wrinkle: if they don't find Holmes, aren't Washington State and Oregon State's coaches in play?
Mm-hmm.
Huge. I think Jonathan Smith was on the list for Michigan State.
Yeah, like I that's all I'm saying. I feel like there's always guys out there that would take them.
But then you also have situations where, you know, you like, I'm trying to think of one. I mean, Dan Mullen would be one that you wouldn't like, you want to go back and get like who, like you've got to know who you're going to get afterwards.
Just relax on Dan Mullen. I've got his next job picked out.
I have one.
What?
Based on what you've seen this year so far, would you remove the interim title from Zach Arnett?
He's not interim. He's full on head coach.
He's the head coach.
No, I thought he was still interim.
No. He's the head coach.
Would you fire Zach Arnett?
Uh-oh.
Nah, that says enough. Oh, he's doing the Frozen.
Yeah, he's pretending to be Frozen.
Nope, the eyeballs. Fair enough. What was your next question, Brandon?
Okay. That was it. I was going to turn it over to the chat. Real quick.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
How hot is Mario Cristobal's seat after what he did last weekend?
I don't think it's that hot. I think he fucked up. Bad. They are 5-1. They fucked up. It was a tough, but his job this season was to win more games and replay and make sure that roster is continually getting stocked and getting better and getting better. I think he's doing that off the field. So while it was embarrassing, I don't know that I do know. I don't think it puts him on the hot seat whatsoever.
You don't think that there are boosters that are looking at that and being like, "You asshole!" Like it's Georgia.
First of all, it's Miami. There's like 12 boosters.
Well,
this
fair.
isn't
Okay,
Auburn who's going to make up an affair and then hire Hugh Freeze.
But if he was at a school that had boosters,
No, I don't think so.
I don't think they'd fire him. But I mean,
it's embarrassing. But I don't think
humiliating.
If you were happy with the job he was doing going in, I don't think it changes everything about your perception of the man. And I do think they were happy with the job he was doing going in.
I think that it at least puts people in a position where they're paying a lot more attention to the decisions that he makes. Because
I don't think he's even close to the hot seat.
I don't know. They underperformed last year. And then I don't think that he's going to get fired over it, but I think that you definitely are going to have people paying a lot closer of attention to what he did.
The full accountability. Like, it's still his OC and he like let it through. Does that help him at all?
No, listen, there's no denying it was a bad decision. There's no denying that he's the coach and he should have done whatever to do to make that not happen. I still think they're fine. I think they're embarrassed right now. I think if he wins 8 or 9 games this year, all of this is forgotten.
Fair.
Yeah, he can turn that around right away. He can go out and beat Florida State. If he beats North Carolina this weekend, it's not forgotten, but I think he's more than fine in my eyes.
What if again, we'll see what happens, but what if that ends up being one of their only losses and that keeps them from the playoff though?
Doesn't matter. They're like, oh, this is amazing. Finally, we have a coach.
I think that would suck, but if I'm Miami and I'm close to the playoff, I'm happy with the job my coach is doing.
Yeah,
sucks that happened.
It's just one of the craziest coaching decisions I've ever seen. And Steve Sarkisian and Jimbo Fisher should send that man a lot of gifts for taking the heat from them because both of them made awful decisions in those games, and everybody's talking about Cristobal.
Yeah. All right. Well, chat, the last 20 minutes of this show belongs to you. It belongs to you. And so get your questions ready, get your super chats ready if you're going to do that, although we don't require it to get something out.
I have a question. I heard this.
Katie, I would love to answer that question. I'm going to answer that question.
True.
As soon as I tell you about the incredible meals at Factor. Casey, you've been a Factor girl for a long time.
I have. Katie and I both started Factor around the same time. The office right now in New York is decked out with Factor. Everything has Factor plastered all over it because of surviving Barstool. And I was cooking I had a Louisiana shrimp Factor. And I know I'm not supposed to probably cook shrimp in the office, but whatever, I did it. Delicious. And Pat walked by and was like, wait, are there Factors in? Like, I need a Factor today. That's how good they are. Like, you just start cooking them. They smell incredible. And everybody comes around. They're awesome. They only take 2 minutes. They're chef prepared. They're healthy. I think on the box it even says like fitness starts with food. I'm obsessed with Factor. This fridge behind me is stocked full of Factor right now.
Factor is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, so you can help fuel up fast for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. Level up with Gourmet Plus options prepared to perfection by chefs, and ready to eat in record time. Treat yourself to upscale meals with ingredients like broccolini, leeks, truffle butter, and asparagus. This October, get Factor and enjoy eating well without the hassle. Simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh flavor-packed meals delivered to your door. Head to factormeals.com/Walker50. Again, that's factormeals.com/Walker50. Use code Walker50 and you get 50% off. That all makes sense, right?
It all makes sense.
50. It's not my age yet. Factormeals.com/Walker50. Use code Walker50 and you get 50% off at factormeals.com.
By the way, for Factor, I've switched over to the chat so that we can start interacting with them. And I saw that it said like chef made frozen meals. Buddy, these meals are not frozen. These meals are not frozen. They are fresh and you use them within a certain amount of days. So don't come at us with that. It's not frozen.
Yeah.
Chef prepared. It's, ready to heat up because they just made it for you.
Yeah. Suck on that, asshole. All right.
Comma, asshole. Make sure you put the comma.
All right. Question from Jesse Adams. Casey, we all know you love Michigan, so will you still love them as hard if Deion got hired at Michigan State? Yes, I know he's not coming to Michigan State, but would you?
Is Michigan as good as they've been? Like that, like people, and I understand it's because it's like the way like people latch onto things. Like when A&M lost, it's like, it's fine. You still have USC, Michigan, and Colorado. The reason I've loved Michigan over the last few years is because I've been right about Michigan. It's not like if Michigan's really bad, I'm still like, Michigan's going to be good. They're going to win. Like I have been correct about where the Michigan Wolverines have been. I don't care about anywhere else in the country other than A&M when it comes to who's playing you. Now, if Deion ended up at Texas, that would be very tough. If Deion ended up at Oklahoma or whoever our little pod is in the SEC, that would be tough. I don't give a shit who coaches at Michigan or Michigan State. If Michigan is good, I will continue to root for Michigan.
I have a hypothetical.
Here's my takes.
On a certain podcast with a number in it, they asked, what would happen in the college football landscape if Oklahoma, without Lincoln Riley, made the playoffs before USC did?
I think it'd be funny. And it would, unfortunately, prove all Oklahoma fans right, which is a scary thought because they were all so psychotic when he left. And they still are psychotic. There were a lot of Oklahoma fans after their biggest win in years that only cared about making Lincoln Riley look bad on Saturday. That's the truth.
Do you think – here's a question before we get to the chat. Who's in a better spot right now, Oklahoma or USC? And I'm saying in terms of overall overall, more for like the next immediate future, 3 years, 4 years.
I think they're both in great shape.
That's fair to say.
I think I would still choose USC because even after Caleb Williams leaves, like the next guy's just sitting, or I guess the next guy's right there at Oklahoma too. But the next guy's sitting right there for Lincoln Riley. I think they're going to continue. What he needs to do is fire Alex Grinch and get serious about defense. If he does that, then he can unlock everything.
I feel like, USC is the easier answer just because, like, you know how good their offense is going to be. And before the game last week, we would have said USC easy, I would guess. I know what Brandon would have said, obviously. But going into the SEC, too, I don't know. It's so interesting that both of those teams are going to be in different conferences next year.
Yeah, I completely forget that USC is going into the Big Ten.
It's crazy.
Yeah. No, they are.
Crazy. May I say something to remind all these people? Because this is where my multitasking goes bad. People saying that I root for Michigan because Dave roots for Michigan because I'm sucking up to him is ridiculous. Because I hate half the things that Dave says. We argue about a lot of things. I've been right on Michigan. The second that I don't think Michigan is going to win the Big Ten, I will say it. I don't give a shit who he roots for either. I don't know why people think people suck up to Dave by rooting for Michigan. Like,
well, he's our boss. I mean, I
like,
get why people say that.
You don't think that he's sitting down in his office being like, okay, so this person rooted for Michigan, I'm going to like them more. Like, he might not make fun of that person as much, but like, it's not giving us any bonus points. Like, you root for who you like. No? Am I wrong?
I mean, I get why people say it. I'm not saying it's right. I get why people say it.
Well, it's stupid.
All right. What else? Can you fire Brian Ferentz if Iowa still wins 9 to 11 games this year? Yeah, sure can. Sure as hell can. Because winning 9 to 11 games this year is simply going to prove that Iowa plays in a really shitty division. Iowa's problem isn't winning 9 to 11 games. They figured that out. They know how to win 9 games. They can win 9 games every year. Play great defense, have 2 good tight ends, some mean guys up front. Bam, 9 wins in the Big Ten West. Their issue is, when am I going to win more than 9 games? When am I going to be a threat when I get to Indianapolis? When am I going to matter in the Big Ten? Because right now, they're just in this – they're in the position that they are Iowa every single year. 8-4, 9-3, plays tough defense, can't score a lick. At some point, it's 2023. You got to score some fucking points.
Agreed.
Talk about the Nebraska win.
Nebraska won.
Nebraska beat Illinois 20-7. Anybody who watched it, God bless you. Alec Weissenmiller says,
I like this question.
what should I hope for as a Michigan State fan? Elko, Smith, Urban, something else. Well, you ain't getting Urban. So don't worry about that one. Elko would be incredible. Smith would be great. So I think either one of those would be top notch. Now, the question for Michigan State becomes, what other job becomes available? Because as of right now, they're competing with nobody in the job market. Soon they'll be competing with, I don't know, Arkansas. Could they be competing with Florida? Could they be competing with, I don't know what becomes available. But right now they're sitting at the buffet and they're looking at all these delicious things and wondering which one am I going to eat. They better go ahead and grab one because other people are hungry.
Well, and we know that obviously they'll pay. And like Mel Tucker, we've said like he deserved a salary bump after the good season they had. Should they have paid him $95 million? Probably not. But it's not like they're hurting for cash. So that they'll give.
They may be though.
They will be
lost
soon.
Their biggest booster.
They will be soon when Mel Tucker gets through with them, I think.
Well, that's also that pending what happens with Mel Tucker. As of right now, they don't look.
We're not sure if it's not like Michigan. Michigan, it's a public university.
Yeah. It
doesn't have their biggest booster can't contribute anymore due to the fact that he owns an NBA team. I'm not saying they're broke. They're probably just not this, oh my God, throw our wallet on the. They have to think about it, which is difficult, but you can still find a really good coach. Like when they found D'Antoni, when they found Saban and whatnot, or D'Antonio, when they found them, they were not like these, oh my God, we just paid so much money for them guys.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to pay somebody $95 million, but if you can pay a coach $95 million, you've got money somewhere. Now, a
lot of the contract was connected to the booster that's gone.
They are also going to probably owe him a lot of money, I'd have to guess. Sorry, Brandon, go ahead.
You know who's going to be paying a lot of money, in my opinion? I think Northwestern's going to be paying a lot of money. I think Northwestern and this Fitzgerald thing, I think they're going to have to pay him a lot of money. That's just my personal opinion.
He sued for like $150 million or something.
Yeah, he sued for some change. So,
and also, God knows the lawyer fees that these two universities.
Yeah,
God knows.
God knows. All right, let's see what else we got. Does Jimbo get fired if he loses to Tennessee?
No, but he should.
I say no. I think it would take a worse loss than that to fire Jimbo because, I can see him losing to Tennessee. Tennessee's not bad. Does Dan Lanning get poached from Oregon? I hope not. God, I hope not. Why would he? Oregon's a top 15 program. Oregon's a top 15 job. And yet their last 2 guys both left for other places. It's one of the weirdest things that's happened in the last 20 years of college football. Oregon should be a place that's kind of a destination. You got Nike backing you. You almost have a coach to yourself. USC's kind of woken up, but you had a coach to yourself for a little while. I think Oregon's a fantastic job. So no, if you're Dan Lanning, I don't think you ever even think about leaving.
And he has a tattoo. He got an Oregon tattoo.
Let's see. Your worst enemy has to watch a game between two Power 5 schools without distractions. Who are you picking? Says Brian Powell. Let me read that again because I think it is a phenomenal question. Brian Powell says, your worst enemy has to watch a game between two Power 5 schools without distractions. Who are you picking? All right. Well, I know Beth Mowens is on the call.
Brandon.
What? What happened?
Be nice.
I'm going to say.
I just saw somebody in the chat say Mississippi State versus Mississippi State.
No, we're entertaining. I mean, is it Iowa Northwestern? Like, is it those two?
Definitely Iowa because they don't score. You have to have two teams that are not going to score points. So Iowa.
Somebody's right. Nebraska, Illinois is close. I think Northwestern might be in it.
Rutgers, Cal would be bad.
Boston College.
Virginia Tech, maybe. Did that.
Baylor versus Iowa is a great answer.
Virginia versus Northwestern. Oh, Baylor's bad. Yeah, Baylor's really bad.
Matt O'Brien. No.
I think it has to be two teams. Oh, no, I think I know who it is. I think it's Iowa State.
Brandon Douglas.
Oh, I just wanted to quickly say.
Yeah.
Vandy's awful. They're bad. And
they're bad. Yeah, you're right.
And I've had not the best college football season in terms of predictions. Vandy being bad, I'm patting myself on the back for that one. Vandy's bad.
Yeah. All right, give me another one. Got about 7 minutes left here. Get your chats in or your talks or your whatever you call them. Does Ohio State's loss to Notre Dame look worse or is Louisville that good? I'll hang up and listen. I don't get into these. You beat a team like Notre Dame. Louisville beat Notre Dame, and that's fine. I don't. And I thought about the other day because I asked this question about Florida State. Should we dock them that Clemson and LSU are not as good as we thought? And I think there's some merit to that. But at the end of the day, you got to give them what they earned, right? You got to give them what they earned until they lose it. You can't let another team lose it for them. I think I've come to that conclusion about Florida State, and I also have that conclusion about Ohio State. We had a top 10 game. Ohio State won it. They get the spoils. I don't think you take the spoils away because somebody else lost. I think you take the spoils away when Ohio State loses. That's what I say.
I agree with that. And it's also, they can only do what's in front of them. They can't pick and choose the best teams in the country to go out and beat. You can only win the games on your schedule. So I agree with that. The Notre Dame situation is tough. Like if you're a Notre Dame fan, you're upset, but Ohio State still beat them. And that game was the most important game of the week. I mean, I know it wasn't watched as much as Oregon, Colorado, but they can only do so much. You have to win what's on your schedule.
Somebody asked about Brandon. You said we hype up Kentucky every year and then they lost. Should we do the same with Maryland? Maryland and Kentucky are not the same to me. Maryland competed. Maryland went to Ohio State and competed, and they were up. They were up for most of the first half. They lost by 20. Yeah, Kentucky was never competitive against Georgia. Kentucky didn't belong on the same field with Georgia. A week after Auburn just almost beat Georgia, Kentucky could not compete at all. So I think Maryland is a good team. Kentucky is an average team. And every year we act like they're good. And frankly, some of these teams do get ranked because they're in the SEC. They just do. There's no reason Kentucky was ranked last week and Maryland wasn't.
Did you see Kirby last week say he thinks every team in the SEC should be ranked?
Yeah, Kirby says a lot of shit. Kirby also convinces 28 or 78 5-stars that they're going to go 6-6 every year. That people think they're going to go 6-6 every year.
Is that almost impressive though that he can do that?
See, I think that if you can have a coach that gets your players to buy into whatever shit you say.
I don't think they buy in. I think they're just better. They're more talented than everybody else.
No. I'm saying like if they believe it, like after the national championship, there were players being like, they said we were going to go 7-5. Like literally nobody said that, but they believed it because Kirby said it. I've said that with Dabo too. Like Dabo says some crazy things, but if the players are buying it, like he's doing something right.
24-karat gold cowbell or Barstool NIL deal.
Ooh.
Not being named Cameron Campagna, you cunt. What else?
That wasn't very nice.
What happened? What? I blacked out. I'm sorry. Are you surprised to see Central Florida looking this bad? I certainly am. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been just really, really, really bad. I know John Reese Plumlee's injury has not been helpful for them, but this has been. Geez, the only teams that are in the Big 12 that don't have a Power 5 win are Houston and Florida. Or no, Houston and Central Florida. And then BYU and Cincinnati. Do they have any Big 12 wins yet? Cincinnati beat BYU.
Yeah.
Did BYU beat somebody this
I
week?
don't think so. They beat Arkansas.
So that's their Big 12. That's their Power 5 win. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, they've been bad.
This Tennessee fan, who I don't know why he's chatting, I don't know how he can read. This Tennessee fan keeps saying, Brandon, you're so wrong. Tennessee has a top 5 defense in the SEC. According to motherfucking what? Because they played Virginia and Ball State and so much. They gave up 29 points to Graham Mertz. They lost to Graham Mertz. Done. I'm done conversating. I'm done talking about the Tennessee defense. If they lost to Graham Mertz, that conversation's over.
I love when you get a chance to dunk on Tennessee, because there like you have your teams you go against, like Oklahoma, Ole Miss, obviously number one, but Tennessee you like to go after, I think, like a notch above other teams sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I like going after everybody. I like going after everybody. I like to go after Oklahoma, and
Well, we know that.
I can't wait till the rematch when Texas beats them by 3 touchdowns. I like to go after Tennessee. I just like to go after everybody.
Speaking of Oklahoma,
Everybody can get it, Casey. Everybody can get it.
Well, there's a guy that's been in the chat again. This is why I can't do this, but Derek J has said maybe 50 times in this chat that only people are idiots if they knew that you weren't joking about Oklahoma. I fucked that up. People are idiots if they knew you weren't joking about Oklahoma.
Agreed. What's the problem with that?
Are you paying that guy to chat that?
No, he's just a fan.
It's a fan that knows what he's talking about. The guy knows ball. What are you trying to?
He knew that you were joking about your OU takes all year.
Let's see. Does Kansas have a path? Yeah, Kansas has a path. Everybody has a path if you think about it. Everybody has a path.
Somebody said that's your burner. I hope it is your burner.
Well, I would have been typing like White Sox Dave on trivia if that had, or Captain Cons and Casey.
By the way, I'm on trivia this week, and I'm trying to get into the league. My team is in. Please check me out Thursday night, I think it is, or maybe Wednesday.
So you've already played that game. Without spoilers, did you enjoy it?
I don't want to ruin it.
All you gotta do is say you enjoyed the form. You enjoyed competing.
I do love competing. It has its ups and downs, though, so we'll see.
True.
And I know because I've been kicked out of the league twice now. But, never back down, never what?
Let's see. Gerald McCoy wants to come on Brandon's show, but Brandon's too much of a pussy to have him on. When he hadn't told me that, I would. Gerald McCoy can come be on this show tonight. We'll record tonight if he wants to come on and be on the show. But
did he say that on Twitter?
He hasn't messaged me or hasn't told me. If he wants to come on my show, he is more than welcome to come on the show.
Katie, will you go see if he said that on Twitter? I would. I don't know what I would do. I would just get my popcorn and I would sit here like this. I mean, I can't.
No, I'll tell you exactly how that would go. It would be boring. It would be, oh, I just thought they weren't that good. I was wrong. Gerald goes, well, you're a bitch. And he's like, yeah, whatever. And then we just talk about Oklahoma for the rest of the year, the rest of the time.
You think I'd go out like that?
Against Gerald McCoy, yeah, because he's a massive human being.
I'm a massive human being. We're on computers. We're not in person.
That is true. He's got Twitter fingers.
Also, he asked for an apology after I was wrong about a football take. That's ridiculous.
It is.
All right.
I'm with the chat. Gerald was way too mad about that. Yeah.
Way too mad about that.
We also
guys played big time football for 20 years and he gets upset that somebody said Oklahoma was going to lose. Get the fuck over yourself.
I agree.
All right. Sorry, Jack.
No. You're the one being attacked.
I know. And it's a shame. It's a damn shame. The number one college football mind in America can't say his takes in peace.
Jackson Jelly, you're getting banned from the chat.
Get his ass out. Get his ass out.
What did he say?
He's spamming that I didn't go to the UConn and why am I a fan if he didn't go there? LOL loser. He did it like a billion times. So I just banned him.
Gabe Eichert texted me, Brandon, this week and was like, Brandon's going to have a long week in his Twitter mentions because OU has a bye this weekend and they've got nothing else to do.
Oh,
tell Gabe Eichert he can come get it too. All right.
I'll tell him right now.
Gabe Eichert. Huh? No, I mean, don't.
No, he's a nice guy.
The way my account's set up, don't.
Don't what?
Nothing. Okay.
He's about to get banned or something?
Y'all ready to get out of here?
What?
All right. Well, Monday Night Football's up. We'll be back Wednesday with our week.
What's
What?
happening?
This guy said my hair's looking straight and masculine.
That's very nice.
Well, if we recall, there was a bunch of bands last week or on Saturday when people were saying my hair looks like a lesbian's haircut.
And you blocked them too, right?
Why would you commute in a Jeep B-Walk? Because I fucking want to. I don't understand why people are like, well, why do you drive that? Because that's what I want to drive.
Wait, I saw somebody ask one, and then we'll finish. Alex said, have you slid into Dan Mullen's DMs officially, Brandon?
Oh, I've been in them DMs.
But like,
no. I've been in them DMs.
I think Katie has the Gerald McCoy tweet.
oh,
I don't think it's an invite. Some random fan says clips of videos like at everybody. You have to go on their show, send him the invite. Then Gerald McCoy responds, he said I was wrong in his cockeyed glory, all while wearing a Sooners jersey, and he did it loudly, like I said. He can use all the words he wants after, ... Mission accomplished. I ain't about to give those couch commentators pub.
Oh, all right. You know what? We don't want you.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I know the man had a long career. His ass is a couch commentator now, too.
Yeah.
That's what he is. He's the same as me
Yeah.
now. And it's fine. He's made a lot more money, and he's had a long career, but he and I are the same now. That's what we are.
some would say you probably have a more successful couch commentating career than him.
Also, I do most of that out of a recliner, so I don't even watch on the couch, asshole. All right. We good?
Yep.
Good.
All right, we're going to end it right there. We'll be back Wednesday to preview this weekend's games. We've got Oregon, Washington. We have Notre Dame, USC. We have a broken finger.
UNC
That's unnecessary.
Miami.
What?
UNC Miami.
Sure. That's unnecessary.
And
reference.
Tennessee.